Today we're going to be talking, I'm going to be talking about imposter syndrome and self-esteem. Okay. For me, imposter syndrome, you may never have heard of it before, and great. It's typically when someone maybe feels like they are an imposter. I think it happens like quite a lot in a professional space. So it might be that someone feels like they're going to be found out for being fraudulent. So for example, I've had this, and when I experienced it, I ended up sort of going through this like quite angry thought process towards my employer, where I wished that they'd had a more thorough interview process, because they would have realised that I wasn't right for the role and they wouldn't have hired me, and then I wouldn't have to feel like this, which is ridiculous. Now there's something else that goes on that I've noticed that I've definitely struggled with before as well, which to me is actually just not being in my esteem. The main difference is that imposter syndrome it's my perception of someone else's judgment of me, whereas when I'm not in my esteem, it's my own judgment of myself. Like, I'm being my own harsh critic and I don't believe I'm enough. I'm not just afraid that someone else is going to not believe I'm enough and find out that I'm an imposter. Regardless of what your actual situation is, the way that we talk to ourselves up here and in here is what's going to determine kind of how we feel in our work. I actually believe that when you believe that something is going to go wrong, it's almost like you invite things to go wrong to like prove what a shit human you are. And you're not a shit human if you feel that that maybe relates to you a bit. We are all just fantastically imperfect humans. I went through a period of my professional life when I wasn't in a very good space within my emotional and mental and spiritual life. I was so terrified of having responsibility and needing to, things like either had to be perfect, or I found it really hard to accept criticism. And so what ended up happening was that if I'd get an email or someone would maybe ask me to do something, or I'd get some feedback, I'd get so overwhelmed and so panicky, and I couldn't even concentrate on what was going on because I felt so overwhelmed. Because people maybe didn't relate, they'd give me suggestions that seemed ludicrous but actually ended up helping me, so weren't so ludicrous in the end. And a lot of those suggestions are about pausing, breathing, just like reminding myself and affirming myself that I am enough and that I am capable. Eventually, at some point, I started to believe that I am capable and that I am enough. It didn't mean I was always going to get everything right and that I wasn't going to make mistakes, but it just meant I was more able to actually be humble and to learn from others and to accept feedback and to really grow in my role. To have enough space to ask for help, I had to kind of get out of this hypercritical narrative that told me that I was shit and that I was a piece of shit and someone was going to laugh at me. All these things were actually blocking me from being able to just get some help with stuff that I found challenging. So it's not to say that I don't still struggle, but I'm definitely able to just trust that things are going to be okay, or that trust that I will be able to ask for help when I need to, even if it's not early enough or I don't identify at the right time. Just the fact that I'm able to take those steps and just be like, look, I don't know, I find this hard, this is confusing, can you offer me some clarity? Whatever it is, asking for help is, one of the most beautiful things that you can do in this life, to actually engage with another human being and allow them to share their knowledge or experience with you. But I guess my message is really that you are enough and you are capable, and to just take really small steps to be really gentle and kind to yourself, because really for me, this life is about experiencing joy, experiencing love, experiencing peace, and anything that takes me away from that is not worthwhile. And that's not to say stop working, but if there is a way that you can experience more freedom and peace and love and joy in your working environment, then why not take that action? For me, it was just, I didn't have a choice. Like, there was no way that I was going to be able to live my whole career in that much panic and anxiety. So let me know in the comments if you've ever felt like you're an imposter, or if you've ever struggled with being out of your esteem, and what are things that have really helped you. I'd love to hear. So I think that's going to wrap it up for us for today, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, of course, if you've enjoyed this content. Goodbye.